easiest thing to talk about compared to
right
for some apparent reason.
Okay, so give me a quick second.
Bring up the stigma, but like
So
I feel like that would potentially give a stigma in a hospital setting over it. No one's ever come at me for my ADHD. They've always come at me for my anxiety, the depression I don't have, and then ignoring the PTSD that I actually have in my chart. That is literally written by clinicians, and they will write that. I
have heard from another person with. Sorry.
I have my live. I'm live on TikTok and I'm live on Facebook. And it's an entire group of neurodiverse, chronic illness friends.
PTSD, and then
I have MCAS, and I have to see a neurologist because I might have epilepsy.
And then do exactly what it does to trigger it. And I'm like, you write down that I have it in my HPI, but then you do it. Like, you trigger it.
Yeah.
Like, it's so stupid. Sorry.
Okay, so I want to go up and say so with Sarah Beth says that she has luck with cormolin and is it ketotifen or ketotifen? I don't know how to pronounce that.
Grandma Bear.
Yeah. And yeah, I know two other people who've had really good luck with the ketotifen.
Oh no, her daughter. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I have the I've been put on the I've been put on the after I literally chemically burned my esophagus with the banana or leaf wrap. Yeah. Let me just say right now, it's a that we can think the entire universe for me having central nervous sleep apnea, because when I woke up, I'm like, why does it feel like I have someone literally standing on my throat? Which should have been my clue to epi. Because but I've never had this is the second time, because the first time was with the latex balloons, but I was able to stabilize that with my rescue medication, the Benz, right? I did that with this time, and I still was like, and we're going to the urgent care, but because everything where I live right now, the urgent care is closed at 7:30 p.m. And if you're sick after that, sorry, you're going to the ER or you're waiting till the next day. So I get to the urgent care and the doctor's like, I need to give you something to calm this down, but I'm looking at your chart. There's nothing I can give you. Literally, what can I give you? And I'm like, more of what I can take. That's literally it. Yeah, just a higher dose. About, right? Yeah, just a higher dose of what I can take.
Done 2/3 of all today. I'm waiting for home. Okay.
Yeah. So
I need to help. I'm not feeling so right, but I'll text Grandma Bear for sure. And
okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
The situation might be getting better though. I just need.
My God.
My. I'll just give a quick update. My PCP is actually getting the GI actually. So the message that I got from my PCP originally, like, made it sound like she already spoke to the GI and ignored him. It turned out the two of them had not spoken yet.
Oh.
And so now they're trying to speak to each other and work out a plan to actually get me the PEG-J.
Okay.
So they can tell the GI doctor to shut the fuck up. I didn't get rid of the other GI doctor who's trying to kill me.
Yeah, basically.
My pronouns are he, him. But yeah, no, and then my formula, I wanted to switch back to the just Kate Farms 1.0 because the 1.4 needed to be watered down so much that it was just so much liquid that it was making me sick.
Forgot you older than what?
So, but yeah, no, I was just yeah, that's my update. Is that things might turn out for the better at this rate. So I'm trying to keep my fingers crossed that I actually have a happy ending.
Yes, finally get the freaking GR doctor out of here.
The problem with it, Robin, is that I have to water it down so much for my end. Like, I feel like it would be a problem if it was a peg tube because it's a wider tube. But for the NJ, I actually have I think this is a pediatric size one. And it's
Jesus.
It's I which is better because I learned that it clogged NJ tubes. If Robin's correct, and it clogged mine twice. The first one I managed to get the clog out. The second one was at week 7 with my other NJ, and when they removed it, it was necrotic, and that was what was making me sick, and that's why I was at the hospital. The thing is that the Kate Farms 1.4, even watered down, was clogging my tube, and also it's so much extra liquid with just the Kate Farms that's really already thick at 1.4 that it was making me nauseous. So they put me back on the 1.0, which doesn't make me nauseous. So I actually haven't done tube feeds at all today, so I'm just kind of not feeling the best. But you could at least tell her that I'm doing, that there's some hope, and that I can kick my old GI to the curb. And I wish I could tell her F you, but I'd get in trouble with the hospital. My partner wants to, my partner's if it wasn't going to risk your stiff person syndrome treatment, I would have torn her a new one forever ago.
That's, I'm still trying to figure out how to get that. I still have the fictitious disorder in my records. Now where I live currently.
I found it in mine as well, or I found hypochondria as in my records because of I forgot what it was.
Oh, thank you, Robin. That's so sweet of you.
I was worried about something with stiff person syndrome, and one of the on-call PAs or whatever PACs put that in.
Yeah.
And then I was told they removed it, and they never did. It carried over to UCSF.
Wait. Let me show you. Let me. This is actually. I should probably do an entire video. And Robin's right. I'm gonna stop titling my chat titles are just gonna be ADHD. But it's, which is fine. I'll just do a separate. I'll just do a separate video on YouTube. Because what I'm figuring, this is kind of my personal water cooler over here, right? And I'm physically pointing to my iPhone because that's where I've got TikTok, and then YouTube is. The only reason I have it running right now because I have a very small. I've got 290 subscribers, but I'm trying to get to 1,000 because when I get to 1,000, I'd be eligible for monetizing the channel. But you also have to have X number of watch hours and everything, and X hours of live hour, times you've gone live. So I'm trying to figure, go do it as I go and just pick up people as I go, and find the community over here, because what I want to happen is that the next time a big story from the chronic illness community hits the news, that puts anyone in our community, any of our communities, in generally, in a bad light. It's not just YouTubers talking about us and TikTokers on TikTok bitching about the YouTubers. I want us over there representing ourselves and standing up for ourselves. And if I personally don't care if anybody, I've had people come for me and, stop bitching and nobody cares and whatever. And that's okay, because haters bring the party. I don't care. I don't know you. If you don't want to be here, that's fine with me. So, Yeah. So yeah, I have absolutely no problem with people being mad at me. But I wanted to go back to, before I forget, I want to answer Manette's question, which which was specifically at 41, what would an autism diagnosis do for you? Okay. Honestly, nothing, unless you want it's validation. That's all it is.
It's
It's
simply validation. Although, if I remember correctly, I think it's what's it called. There's an association that is open up, there's a video on here that was shared to me that has related to autism, and it's opening up people who have autism to actually talk about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot who it is.
Sorry.
Sorry. Is this an autism thing? I've been doing this since I was a kid, and thankfully my mom was never mean, thinking that I was like ignoring her. If somebody can come up and talk to me, and my brain will take a while for them to realize, for me to realize that they're talking to me.
Yeah.
So like if I'm watching TV, I can't go from watching TV right away and, oh, hi, you know.
Okay. All right. Do you keep on talking, Manette, and look at my face. Look at where I'm focusing. Your voice is literally here, right? I am not. If you were standing right in front of me, I wouldn't be looking directly at you. I would be focusing on something, or something just beyond you, next to you, on you, necklace, something. Because I would have to have a visual focal landmark, I guess, where that's where I'm focusing all of my vision. Like if we're at a Mexican wedding or a quinceanera or a birthday party or freaking Theo's house on Sunday, and nobody can hear anybody, and you're trying to talk to me, the only way I can hear you is if I'm looking at your mouth, or just slightly past you and focusing on, say, like the doorknob that's like right next to your waist. Like, yeah.
Reminds me of one moment where I did a presentation for a history class, and I didn't look at anybody's faces.
Yeah. So
I was
just
not staring at anybody. Ever.
Yeah. So when I started, when Eliana was diagnosed, actually, my writing portfolio would make a great study in special interest in, what's your special interest in autism? Because me being a reporter, I got to ask why all the time. My special interest is literally the why, learning the why. And no one's going to look at a reporter, a freelance writer.
I always do that. Even my husband will think sometimes that I'm ignoring him, and I'm like, no, I'm not ignoring you.
Honestly, my mom does the same thing. And here's the thing is, I have a hard time staring at people in the face, but I have a hard time telling if anybody is actually paying attention to me.
Yeah,
so Robin. Sometimes my mom will look away, and sometimes I can't tell if she's listening because she's literally using her hands with the knitting and stuff.
Robin, Eliana,
I think she has ADHD.
Robin, we can go all day. No, we can go all day with Eliana not making physical contact with me or her dad, because she's just in her own space. She's finished school for the day, and she is don't, you can tell if she's engaged or not. And I'm taking medication because I have skin that's getting hard, and that's my first sign. Okay. So I think
I can't tell if anybody's paying attention to me. Sometimes I think people are paying attention to me, but no, they're actually waiting for somebody.
I can't tell when I'm actually friends with people. Sometimes I confuse courtesy. Right. I don't. How the hell do adults make friends?
I don't know how.
I mean,
I was gonna say one more thing.
Good.
I was at a restaurant.
Huh?
I was at a restaurant, right?
Uh,
And I thought somebody was trying to wave at me, but no, the random person was just stretching their arms. And for some reason, my brain thought, "Oh, hey, pattern." No, it's not. They're not doing that. What the hell you're? I
so
don't.
how
know.
how
I
how,
don't
how
know
did
why my
you
brain does this?
how did you cover that one up? Because did you wave back?
No, I didn't wave back.
Oh, okay.
I literally had like small little you know how there's a little small brain moment that kind of like how do you say it? With a little
Epiphanies.
light going on in your head.
Epiphanies.
Like, nothing ever happens. Like physically moving your hands happens. That's what happened.
Wait, what? Oh, that thing. Okay.
You have a box request.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Robin.
Thank you.
More people don't wave back. But here's the thing, that person wasn't waving at me at all. I thought the person was waving at me because usually I'm so used to seeing hands raising up and waving. I don't know how to describe it. Pattern recognition thing.
So, Manette, I have something similar, where like people can talk to me and I know they're talking. And I could even be talking to someone, but I don't like looking at people.
Right.
So people notice that I can be talking and like, especially when I'm at doctor's.
Oh, rejection sensitivity disorder.
Yes.
I can look at the ceiling. I can look at the floor. And sometimes when I'm like, oh, right, I have to have eye contact. So I look at my doctor, but then I get really uncomfortable. So then I look at his forehead. Or one time he had a stain on his coat. So I was looking at the paint stain on his coat.
Okay, so listen.
I was talking to him, but I didn't want to look him in the face.
So listen, they used to in what is it? What's the acronym? ABA? The therapy, autism therapies that is now considered or has been considered for quite a while to be actually a form of a very bad thing. Because you were forcing things and behaviors on neurodiverse people and children, specifically children, that was actually increasing their anxiety. And anyway, what I wrote a story for in 2018. A study came out. If you search autism, eye contact, and my first and last name, or it should probably just come up with just my first name. I wrote a story called "Why Eye Contact is So Distressing for Those with Autism" for Health Central. And keep in mind, it was written in 2018, so functioning and labels were still used as the norm. But the bottom line for the story, RSD is rejection sensitive dysphoria.
Makes you wonder that's possibly why borderline personality disorder is kind of linked with ADHD, because there is a overlap, a coverability between personality disorders and
I used to get in trouble during presentations and
Do you need to go to bed, Ray?
communication class
because I
would snap my fingers or tap my leg, or I wouldn't look at the people. I would look at the back of the classroom, and they would take off points. They're like, why don't you look at the people when you're speaking to them? Because I don't want to be up here, first of all. And so if you want me to look out in the crowd, I'm looking to the back. I've danced my entire life. Have I looked at anybody when I was dancing? No, I looked past them. I don't want to look at those people. If I look at them, I'm a freak out.
Okay.
What I'm doing.
All right. So 1 second with Katona. There is I'm gonna have to look up her name. There's a creator on. There's a double doctorate. I believe she's from New Zealand. ADHD TikToker. Okay. Freaking brilliant. And I saw this. I saved the video. If you send me a message to tell me to look for it.
Person on Instagram. I think her tag is it's Rain PPD, and she does like a small at least 2 infographics relating to the similarities between HD and autism, and she does say that she also has those disorders, and it is and she did say that it is comorbid with the personality disorders.
To be punished because I tap my feet or I tap my hands or I or I mess with my fingers when speaking. Why would you take out points for that? Like, I'm reading. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
It's because people didn't understand. Because that's because people didn't understand how we function or what things that we have to do in order to pay attention.
Oh yeah. That
c-
reminds me of a great video.
Yeah.
Call my mom. They would be like, they'll call my mom up in the parent-teacher conference and be like, Robin
Okay.
has turkey and she loves to dance. And my mom's like, so what
All
are
right,
the grades?
Ray.
They're like, well, Robin gets 100s on everything. And my mom's like, why am I here?
You want to know what listen. I don't remember. I remember somebody did a TikTok on this. I don't remember who. Just some random creator who got went viral with the video. Because everybody was like, "Yeah, I did. Yeah, me too." Apparently it's a thing. I thought it was just me, but we all and we're not. Nobody has an original experience on TikTok.
I was gonna say something real quick.
What's that?
So I watched this video, and this guy, I think his name is Oliver, and he has ADHD. And for the longest time, he needed to stop in the middle or stop for a moment to let all his ADHD energy out in order to read. And he got constantly punished for that. So in order to help this inner child and actually get to he'll actually do exercises and dance before getting into reading, or basically doing the stuff that's not typically what a lot of people teachers teach. To this day, I realized that a lot of people also will stop in the middle of the reading for a moment and then get back to it.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I did not know that people also do that.
Daniel Radcliffe has. So me and Pauline were talking about how I wasn't really good at holding pencils, tying my shoes.
Oh yeah. What was it called?
Any form of sports.
Dyspraxia.
Yeah. Eliana has that too.
Trip over my feet. But I was good in dance class, and I love to be in tap class because I like the sounds that would form when I would tap my feet.
Yeah.
They take me to the grocery store. I was dancing in the aisle. Did my mom yell at me? No. She was like, oh, yeah, Robin's a tap dancer. She loves to dance. So we'll be over there, and she'll be like, what type of cereal do you want? And I'm like, Frosted Flakes, flat, bamboo. I will be dancing like I was doing freaking Barbra Streisand or Singing in the Rain in the grocery store.
Yeah.
And that's just me. My mom was like, yeah, she likes to dance. She'll dance anywhere.
Honestly, I don't know how people cannot dance when they're listening to music in the store. I don't know how people can't do that.
And also, in college, I had to write. Basically, we were talking about people with or children and with disabilities and getting them into activity. And a lot of people, of course, they're like, oh, well, basketball or whatever. And then I was like, so we had to write a lesson plan. I was like, why don't we use dance? And we had to talk about stuff that they use, like autistic children. If they don't like the loud sounds, then they can have their headphones available. We can use things like scarves, things like that to entertain them. So they're still moving, but not everybody has the ability to run and play basketball and shoot and stuff. And those spaces can be really irritating to people who don't want to hear all that loud squeaky noise on the basketball court.
Freaking loud ass noise. Yeah.
So why don't you get them something where they can all participate instead of, oh, this child's autistic, we're not going to allow them to participate. No, get them where they can all be involved in their own comfort spaces. And they don't even have to interact with other people. Like if a child is going around and with a scarf and spinning around in circles the whole time, they're moving, they're having fun, and they're in their comfort.
And they're doing their own thing. They're doing their own thing, seriously. And here's the thing: what a lot of people don't get. For some people with autism, right? Yeah, with autism, there's a thing called parallel play.
Yep, 100%.
A lot of times, how people with autism, some people with autism, I do parallel play, but not really as much. But how they interact with other people is that they just do it, just work with it, just play their own thing on side of other.
As long as you're doing what you enjoy next to the person who's doing what they enjoy, even if it's two separate things and you never say a word and you spent hours together. You read a book while they watched a movie. You both played. You both watched you got your iPads, and you're drawing, and the other person is watching their favorite gamer.
Or like a cat hanging out with our corner.
Right, exactly.
But
Yeah.
I want
You,
to say something. But
yeah.
if I show you my Sims, that means I really, really like you. And if I'm showing you all my favorite horror movies, I like you a lot. And after the movie,
and if I'm paying attention and going and look like this, I like you too, because I'm actually like pretending to give a fuck.
I'm paying attention to you, yeah. So
love
I
that.
actually grew up going through this school that back in the 80s they didn't have a lot of schools that had special education over here. I don't know of the rest of the world, but over here in Phoenix we did it, and my mom got me in this school, and I felt like always in that school they always wanted to include everybody. I never felt like I was not part of the school. Like I didn't feel like I was separate from everybody else.
Yeah, Eliana was very lucky. She only went to school for 2 years, for 2 years and 6 weeks. 2 years of preschool and 6 weeks of kindergarten. But the preschool was an amazing preschool in Tucson, and it was all inclusive. And that meant that, and that was everything from physical to mental capabilities. Every teacher, every class had, like a max of 12 kids or something. And there were 2 teachers and a parapro in every class. It was absolutely amazing. And you've got, it was
kind of like
so
set up
good.
like if you were going to high school, where you had like your main room, and then you had to go to like math and English, things like that. It was kind of set up similar. I had my main room, and then at a certain hour I would go to like this class to learn this specific thing.
Yeah. See,
And
where
it was very beneficial going to that school.
In kinder, I usually had to be taken outside of class for speech therapy.
They took me out in kinder, and they would put me in the first or second grade classes for English because I started reading very, very young.
Eliana was reading when she was 15 months old.
I was delayed in reading, so
so was I. I learned how to read I was delayed in reading for my classroom because I did my first half of kindergarten in Detroit, and they weren't.
I think the reason I'm trying to remember. I think the reason why I had to be taken out of class for a moment to have a little small one-to-one time with reading is because I was also getting really distracted in the class. And I felt like, she needs one-on-one, and because it's getting a little bit hard for her to read.
Yeah.
My mom was not. Well, I'm not going to say she wasn't nice, but over the summer, my family friend was a charter school principal, so my mom would put me in higher classes over the summer, so I would be ahead of the grade that I would be in, enrolling the next fall. And I was really mad that I was in summer school, not because I failed anything. No. I always went to summer school too and did the same thing. Ain't it evil? Got homework in June.
I don't remember ever going to summer school.
I actually went to summer school because I failed chemistry in high school with a 69. Don't ask. I needed a 70 to pass. Mr. Rock hated us. A chemistry teacher with the name Mr. Rock. And you want to know the worst part? This used to make us mad. Listen to this. He would grade our assignments, the paper assignments, and he would always be eating red hot Cheetos. There was red hot Cheeto dust on our stuff. He used to put all that.
I want to punch him already. Oh my god.
I had a teacher. Oh my god.
Can I punch him?
He had a really horrible name.
What was it?
For kids, because she could easily be picked on. She was a nice lady, and just her name was bad.
Oh, well, Mr. Rock, we were like, Mr. Rock, why is the red hot Cheeto stuff on our assignment? He was like, I don't really be eating them like that. Yes, you do. We saw you open up the cabinet with a family size red hot Cheeto dust, and it's all over my stuff. And I thought I was dumb.
my
I was
God.
like, I don't know chemistry. Now I tutor chemistry for college students, and I got an A in Chem 1 and Chem 2. But
There's something like that motherfucker is unprofessional as hell. Why is he fucking teaching? Sorry, I'm
it wasn't because
pissed
I was
already.
dumb. I was never dumb. He was terrible. Mr. Rock.
He was absolutely terrible for what you're talking. Oh my god.
I don't even remember the teacher I had. It was 8th grade. This teacher was so bad. I've always had like a weak bladder, and I told him I had to use the bathroom, and he didn't believe me. And I'm a good girl, so I just sat back down. Well, I couldn't hold it, and guess what happened?
Yep.
Yeah.
And my mom was not happy.
Limestone.
He was a bad teacher because everybody hated him. We actually formed a petition and went.
From where the Flintstones work? Sorry, go ahead, Manette.
Honestly, I had some racist teachers in high school too. I had one dance team teacher that told us that all the girls were going to wear their hair up in a ponytail and hat down. And then she goes, Robin, we don't know what we're going to do with you yet. So I told my mom, and we brought in our class principal, and we had a conversation. And my mom was like, my daughter's been dancing since she's been about 2 years old. We never had an issue with her hair. And then she goes, well, if you were offended, you should have told me. You're like 40 years old. And I
Oh my god.
trio for a dance competition, and I'm one of the only Black girls, and you're telling me you don't know what to do with my hair.
Are you
Yep.
That
serious?
is.
Yeah.
People
Oh my
don't
God.
have no common sense, no common courtesy.
And a
Mhm.
white lady at that.
I remember my mom talking about.
Hello.
Oh god. There was one moment. I think that was my Thea, and she was like in class, right? And for some reason, her teacher started talking about God, I think it was something about I forgot what it's called. Oh, like shit. I know she makes a weird ass, freaking racist ass comment.
Yeah,
Towards
I
my
don't know
Thea.
how we got away with it. We also had an algebra teacher. So I was in AP algebra, but then I went back to regular algebra because my schedule was too much. I was all in AP. And the first class I went there, we got the test, and I got the highest grade. He was like, why did you leave AP algebra? I was like, I don't know. I just didn't want to be in it. And he was like, well, you obviously got the highest grade. But he was racist as hell. So I came to class with braids, and everybody in the class was like, Robin, I like your hair. I like your hair. And he goes, I like your weave.
That's nice.
Excuse me. Okay. How is he not punching? Oh god.
And then a girl, a black
I don't understand how a people could be teachers. Don't they screen?
Yeah.
They need to screen them.
and a
Oh,
black girl
unfortunately, they don't.
gonna apply to NYU, and he was like, oh, you're not gonna get in there. He's like, oh, you can't get into Texas A&M. You're not smart enough to get in there. He was like, oh, I got in there because my grandpa and my dad went there. That's how I got in. You're not smart enough to go to NYU. And he would say that to the black students. He would say mean stuff to the Hispanic girl in the class, talk about her weight, just rude stuff to her.
Oh, I'd have gone
And
off.
then they called us out.
I would have punched him.
If I ever had a problem like that, my mom, she's a small lady, but she had a heavy hand.
It was me.
My mama used to beat the fuck
Hello,
out of
Julie Horton.
my Theo's bullies all the damn time, so she has no. And my grandma doesn't
Vesper.
hesitate to take out her earrings and beat the shit out of somebody.
We
Yeah.
were all there.
So I don't
Maria, hold my baby.
Not anymore, but she had 9 brothers, so I see my
Go
mom
stuck.
go down.
Maria, hold my baby.
They asked us all. They
Oh
were
yeah,
like,
my mom.
"What's
Sorry.
your experience with your algebra teacher?" And then it's all girls, black girls and Hispanic girls is the only girls he picked on, and and he
Oh.
would make like weird, inappropriate remarks about us. The ones that you need to you need to go to jail because he's a high school teacher and he shouldn't be doing this to young women. And
Excuse me.
Our bodies.
Okay.
So Misaka War.
So nobody said anything. I mean, I understand. Okay, so where I went to high school, both in my high school and in my college, there was this situation two separate situations with teachers that involved relationships that should not have been happening. The first one, I actually knew her and went to was in the classroom with them on occasion, and I never picked up. I always felt guilty later when things came out, and he the things that needed to happen happened, right? And I always felt guilty for not picking up on signs, when I see all these other patterns. And then in college, I got pissed because the professor that he was in charge of publishing an anthology every year of what were considered like the best short stories from the creative writing classes written each year, right? And I had one of my stories selected, and everything would have been great, and I would have had my name in my story in an actual book with the cover and everything. And then this SOB gets busted for having a relationship with a student who I think reported him because he didn't give her an A on something.
Huh.
Well, I mean,
my gosh, that's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, she was of legal age, but the relationship was inappropriate, so he was fired, and there wasn't enough time to bring in a new professor to continue that. So the entire thing was just disbanded. I was raging. I was so mad. You'd have thought like I was so mad.
Honestly, my best experience with any professor, I had a interior design professor, and his name was Robin. he had two first names, we had the same name. And he was funny as hell. He was gay as hell. He did not give a crap. If you brought Chick-fil-A into his classroom, like people would have Chick-fil-A for breakfast, and they'll bring it into his classroom, he'll be like, you know what? If you hate me, you don't have to show me like this.
Bring in the homophobic chicken down.
He was like, if you hate me, that's fine, but you don't have to do this. Hilarious. And he was like goofy as hell, but he was serious, and he's kind of sassy too, because he was like, I graduated from Rice University, top of my class, with this and this. I'm like, yes, we get it. Yeah, we know. You went to a top.
I had a teacher that was cool like that. His name was Mr. Bustamante, and I actually got to see him when I was older, because I was enrolling my niece in high school. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're still a teacher. He was such a cool teacher.
I love cool teachers, for real though. I also have
One of my favorite teachers of all is I call him Mr. V because his pronouncing slang that was really hard. It was, I think how you pronounce it is that. I can't pronounce it well. He was one of those cool teachers. He's my basically my vocational audiovisual production teacher. And
you want to know something?
No.
Yeah.
My psychology professor, I think she had ADHD. We never had anything done on time. Never of the assignment.
Oh.
Major assignment. We got grades for talking, and she would go on the tangent about her ex-husband, and then at the end of it, she'd be like, what do you guys think I should do? You are the psychologist.
I love it.
What the hell?
That's definitely, yeah, I also had my history teacher in high school also had ADHD.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We missed our midterms because she didn't sign it. Our only grade was a thing, our final paper that I did about dementia and Alzheimer's and got an A on. But I put, why didn't you be a professor, Pauline? Pauline would be like that teacher. We won't have no parents because Pauline done forgot.
I would actually be a good teacher because I would only teach something that I would probably only teach on like journalism. And then I'd go viral for.
I like journalism photography classes.
Yeah.
I took pictures at what are those things called where they have like they're not carnival. What's a carnival? That thing where there's like a lot of games.
A carnival?
Stuff
A
like
carnival, a festival.
Yeah. Okay, I guess they're called carnival.
Okay, I'm gonna
I took pictures of
take
my
care.
friend, and it was
Hello,
like that night.
Haley.
Talking about journalism, have you guys heard? It's been all over my FYP. And I feel so bad. That girl, Savannah Soto, that was pregnant and her boyfriend got killed.
Manette, that's really close to me. I'll just say that's really close to me.
Yeah, it's so sad.
What happened?
A girl in San Antonio. She was
went missing before.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Is it what?
I'll look it up. I'll look it up.
Her boyfriend got unalived. I think he was involved in baby stuff. She was pregnant.
Yeah, and she was pregnant and literally was due. And her family.
Was it a girl with a brown dress?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like the brown
Shit,
dress.
cause I saw a video. I saw this account that does the whole missing persons thing and say, oh hey, and that kind of let people do their
with DSWs inside a car behind the apartment. I don't know what the zip code is, or anything. Nobody's. They said Leon Valley. I don't even know what that is. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, now I remember. Yeah, I heard about that. I just didn't know the details about what happened to her. I know she died, but I didn't know what her connection was and all that stuff.
Yeah, but
I've covered I've covered multiple I covered two multiple murders, but I covered two that made national news. And where my stories were like, huh?
Say unaliving. Don't say the M word. Say unaliving.
Journalism, TikTok, grow the fuck up.
You can't say that. I'm trying to get your account to stay on here.
Child, half the time, half the stuff you're saying actually is the reason we get in trouble.
I am an adult. I'm a quarter years old. Do not treat
A quarter years old.
I'm a quarter years old. I've been 25 for 2 months. I understand a quarter of life.
I understand less than that, and I am old enough to actually be your mother.
Not really, because she's about 59. But
technically, my father was exactly 20 years older than me, and
Wait,
actually,
how old are you again?
huh?
Pauline?
Huh?
How old are you again, Pauline?
I just turned 46.
Oh, you're down. You're 2 years younger than my tia.
Yeah. So
you're 5 years older than me, but my sister's.
Because my mom's 51. I think my tia is 48.
yeah. So I just turned 46, and here's the thing. This actually should have been. I didn't know this is actually a female autism thing. There's a list that Samantha Kraft. She's well known in the autistic community. She has done a lot of writing on traits in female autism because it often presents differently than the male brain stereotypical stuff that was on that Dr. Sasha Baron Cohen and his partners came up with. They based off most of their stuff was based off of non-melanated male children and adults, right? So I even remember when when I brought Eliana home from the hospital, and they had this entire I gave the new mom packet of from everything from La Leche League to whatever. The Signs of Autism page was blue. And like I'll never forget that, because when I was diagnosed as having as ADHD, and the only reason that happened was because I was in the office of a doctor who had ADHD. I went in for something else. Okay. I didn't go in to find out if I was neurodivergent. I went in for other things. And it was a 2-hour appointment. And at the end of the appointment, I realized he goes, blah, 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 whatever on your original question. However, I think you need to talk to your doctor, because this was a functional medicine or a naturopathic doctor. Well, he couldn't prescribe. Okay. He couldn't prescribe medications. He said, I have ADHD, and I was like, okay. And he was like, and so do you. And I was like, I'm sorry, what now? And like, right, I'm not even kidding you. And like, say this is my phone, okay? And this is the desk, and you are the doctor, okay? Where you're sitting. So every like me.
You check your phone like that? I just flip my phone over and over.
Oh, I did. He said that he counted that I probably, in the 2 hours that he was talking and we were talking and I was answering questions, that I probably picked up my phone like over 200 times just to click the on button, look at the screen, see if there were any notifications, and put it back down. And the whole time I was, completely paying attention to the conversation. And this is the best. Manette and Ghost Duck, you guys are gonna love this. April, Viola, you Mexican too? But I don't know.
I think so.
Hispanic, yeah, Latina. Anyway, my tia Rebecca knew something that everybody else didn't, because I was just one of the gifted. I'm the late diagnosed, gifted, burnt out, gifted, and talented kid. In fourth grade, I was put in. There was a class called Project Promise. That was the class to be in. If you were put in Project Promise in fourth grade, you were in Project Promise through sixth. So you had the same teacher for 3 years, and for the last 3 years of elementary school. And you did all these cool things, and it was and since it was multi-age, like there were just so many, just it was just a very unique experience. And I absolutely love the teacher. But like I would really like to know how many kids in that class got diagnosed later.
I would, for GT, my mom and dad bought me a balloon book where they gave me a bunch of balloons, and I would, pretend I was like, I don't know, Pennywise, and make animals. I spent a lot of times in my parents' office blowing up balloons and trying to make a dog.
Aw, I
would blow up another balloon and try to make another dog.
I ran
out of balloons, and I told my parents to go to Family Dollar and give me a whole nother pack of balloons because I needed to make this dog. And if this dog blows up, I'm gonna be mad. And I was crying.
Aw. So to celebrate being gifted and talented, your parents triggered your latex allergy. That's sweet.
But I didn't know that was a bad thing. I just thought, I have itchy lips because the blood flow is going to my lips because I'm trying to blow up this dog.
Oh no.
Let's go to allergy signs. I, looking back now, know where allergy signs when I was a kid for latex. Number one, chewing gum. Remember the little chewing gums that were wrapped up in those little Spanish comics?
Yes, I love those. When you go to your friend's birthday and then they come out and you get the La Rosa, the brown ones?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so anyway.
The lollipops.
Yeah, but like cheek, like gum. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when I was 8 years old, I stopped chewing gum. Like just I gave it up. I think I used Lent as an excuse that year, and I just never drank it and chewed it again, because every single time I chewed gum, it would make my jaw feel. I would get what I call it felt like cement, lockjaw, like my it would just get really really tight through here. And as an adult, this is probably 5 years ago. I was back in Michigan visiting a high school friend who has a severe allergy to tree nuts, just tree nuts. But I mentioned, I happened to mention I'm like, yeah, I stopped chewing gum like when I was 8 because it always made it feel like my like it made honest here's an autistic description. It made me feel like what cement would feel when it's drying, like in my jaw. And she was like, Pauline, she goes, that's an anaphylactic like sign, like of like that's a sign, that's a bad sign of, and that it's not anaphylaxis on its own, but that's an allergic sign. And I was like, whoa. April, Chicana for the fourth, fifth gen don't there. Cool beans.
Yeah, I'm Mexican and Yaqui, like Manette.
I used to put the
I think
mango.
I'm older than all of you guys. I'm 51.
Oh, hey, you're my mom's age.
My son is 34.
My mom's almost 60.
My husband just turned 50.
Yeah.
My husband turned 50.
My dad is a registered member from the Yaqui tribe here in Arizona.
Yep.
I don't know. All I know is that my dad found out that one of my great grandparents is part of the Easter Bend Cherokee tribe. I
Eliana.
can't confirm it at the moment because I don't want to unpack
And I
my whole
have,
Yeah.
I
entire.
have a picture of my great grandmother that is full Yaqui.
Yep.
I know my
I
great
swear
grandma.
she has amber
Have
eyes.
you ever
She
heard?
has amber eyes.
Oh, beautiful. Have you ever heard?
All my kids have different colored eyes.
Yeah.
I have 4.
Have you ever heard of the Kikapu tribe? Kikapu. Kikapu.
Never heard of it.
It was the tribe. It's a tribe that originated in Mexico and eventually, I guess, like ended up like partially in Mexico, like basically like straddling the border. And I think,
like Yaqui.
yeah, and
I know there's a tribe. I know I'm particularly near a tribe called the Pequas.
oh, what I want you to do, if you feel like it after, because Eliana has a very defined moon-shaped face, right? If you look at my art account, I've got, there's that picture of her wearing the Dia de los Muertos mask that I made for her a couple years ago. I happened when her grandfather, my husband's father, found he was raised in a mud hut for the first few years of his life. Like he has vague memories of literally dirt under his toes, like inside of his house. And then his mom decided to move off the res to give the kids a better life. So I looked up the tribe. We got curious and did a little bit of research, and go stuck. I can't. I'd have to. I would have to. I would have. I can't talk about mine publicly. I can tell you that I'm Mexican and that I get my hair done. That's what I can tell you. The somehow there was, I guess there is a test. There aren't very much. I don't know which test it is, but apparently my father-in-law was able to find out exactly which tribe, because he couldn't remember which tribe his family was from specifically, because they left the res so early, and he's in his mid-80s.
Didn't you she can call herself Afro-Latina.
I no. Let me, Robin. Let's just put it this way.
Afro-Latina and somebody who's straight black.
Let me just put it this way. In front of my family, no, I can't.
Yeah. Right. In front of her. Yeah.
So
But you say that to somebody else. Don't let your mama hear you. My dad was Puerto Rican. That raised me, and
Puerto Rican.
Turned himself
Yeah.
off for me because
Which is interesting since we have a black community in Mexico.
Oh.
We literally have our own Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Puerto Rican? Because there's some Puerto Ricans that are evidently black.
Evidently, when I was a kid, I thought that Puerto Rican was just automatically meant that you were a melanated person who spoke Spanish. Literally, it's on the totem pole of.
Isn't that Afro? It's like
Let's just put it this
It
way.
can be.
Wait. Manette, you still here? Yeah. Did you ever watch Cristina, the TV talk show host, the blonde?
yeah, I've seen her.
Okay, all right. Okay. You all know. Okay, she was basically the Mexican or the Spanish the Spanish Oprah. She was from Spain, and very very European Spain. Like she glue in the dark. Okay.
They speak so beautiful.
They do. But let me tell you, my jaw, I can still remember realizing the irony of like the fact that I was like 8 or 9 years old and I'm watching what I imagine the 50s looked like on TV right now on Univision or whatever channel that was. Because there was one of the episodes, she's a talk show. And one of the episodes was about Latino, non-melanated Latino parents, Mexican parents, trying to stop their preciosas hijas from marrying melanated males, Afro Latinos, because I'm not gonna have in my house.
That's what my grandpa did one time. For some reason, my grandma was one of those girls that liked melanated men, right?
Right.
Obsessed with them. And
Yeah.
she decided to date a guy, and this
Hey, Laura
was
Cherry.
her life, right? But my great grandpa did not like that.
Right.
Even though we had family members, even though we had mixed kids here.
Yep.
For some reason, my great grandpa didn't like that.
Yeah. My dad always told me that in our family there was one person who, and there was always every generation there was always a very very light skinned person who married someone who was very very dark skinned. And there are words and terminology.
My mother was very light complected, had very, very light hair, and she had amber eyes.
My grandfather, my dad's.
I know my great grandma was called
I was very light complected.
My grandfather, my dad's dad had gray eyes, hazel green eyes, hazel gray. Yeah. And then
My nothing has hazel and then blue eyes and then brown eyes.
I have a picture of Eliana when she was a baby, when her eyes were still gray.
My great grandma. My great grandma wasn't all that light, right?
Actually, she was. They used to call her Morena.
Morena, yeah, that's what my great grandma usually gets called Morena, but she also had the light eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And then my great grandpa on the other hand, he was the only time he really got quote unquote lighter is when he actually got older and got sick.
Well,
yeah, true.
But honestly,
our family friend, she was Puerto Rican, and of course she wasn't really white. She had really curly hair, and as a little girl, I looked at her. She was talking about how she was raised and how her mom, when she used to get in trouble, she had to sit on her knees and rise. I'm like, "Are you black?" And she goes, "I'm Puerto Rican."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She looked exactly like my family. Like, I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Of course, she may be having black Dominican.
There's a
They think my dad's Cuban where we are because my dad's black and speaks Spanish. Yeah, they always ask him if he's Cuban because he starts Spanish, he speaks fluent Spanish. And then
I would have asked if he was Dominican.
one of my favorite YouTube videos. I couldn't tell you the name. I couldn't tell you the name of the guy, but yeah, there's a Puerto Rican TikToker. I don't know. It was a random video, but it was viral. And he was like, he was doing that I'm two people having a conversation thing. And there was the heavy Puerto Rican Spanish speaking portion, and yeah, well, what are oh no, I mean, but Boricua, whatever. I'm not, and you're not black. You're not black. No, no, I'm Puerto Rican. And like the entire comment section was like, celebrating the fact that like this guy was like highlighting that Puerto Rico doesn't look it's not so it's not I'm the it's the nationality. It's not I'm Afro Puerto Rican or I'm Scottish Puerto Rican. You're just Puerto Rican.
Yeah. So it makes sense she would say that. Of course, yeah, she does have black. Her children were black, have black, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I saw her Facebook and I saw her mom. I was like, they're definitely black, but they Puerto Rican.
Yeah, I learned the slave ships stopped in South America before they came to North America. And that for a very long time, even as even my grandparents' generation, there were people who in America you tried to pass as Caucasian. In Mexico, you said that you were Native. That's what you passed for because that was socially acceptable, even though it was on the bottom of the because on the very bottom of the totem pole was that. So there were yeah. Did you? They didn't even add Afro Mexican as an option for the census. Who's got the feedback? Because it's driving my ADHD nuts.
I think you need to mute Manette. Is that Manette?
I don't know, but I'm about to break my phone.
There you go.
Okay, thank God. Did you see the rage building? Did you?
What's going on?
I was like getting angry.
There's a lot of immigration, of course. And there was one time my dad came across this guy from Honduras, and he was really, really confused. And then my dad came up and started speaking to him in Spanish, and he just had a look of just joy on his face. And my dad got him some food and everything, and told him where he can go, and he just looked like relieved.
Have you ever heard of the term Myrish?
No. What's that?
Mexican Irish. Did you know that during the Mexican-American War? No, first of all, I found out from a friend who owns a bar in downtown Detroit that there is, I don't know if they still do it, but they did do it at least through when we were in college, and there was a Irish festival every year. And I was like, I'm Irish. Like, what the hell's that? Mexican and Irish. Guess what?
It's interesting because
Guess
I
what?
also know a mutual who is Mexican and Irish.
My husband is
But
Mexican
also-
and Irish, and I have cousins on my mom's side who are Mexican and Irish. And guess what? The reason that this is a thing, and Irish people can, it's like Puerto Ricans. You can be anywhere from like glow in the dark to, melanated, morena, right? And the cool, okay, Manette. And the cool part is that we find out on my mom's side that all of my cousins on my mom's side were from one of my aunts who had like 3 husbands. Apparently, she had a thing for Irish guys. Because her 4 daughters were all Irish. And we thought it was so cool. So yeah.
I was gonna say one more thing.
Yeah.
So not only do we have a folklorical that is both have African American roots.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, have African roots and Mexican roots.
Uh-huh.
There's a whole ass Chinatown in Mexico.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Because basically, since the Chinese were being
Okay,
expelled
Robin.
in America, they ended up going over here into Mexico. And
Hi, Loretta.
A lot of them, like, a lot of them don't even know Chinese. A lot of them just speak Spanish.
Right. Oh, and that's how the Irish and that's so in Jalisco, Mexico.
There's also German there's also Mennonites, like German Mennonites over there too.
Yep. And so there's a movie called One Man's Army. Tom Berenger is plays the lead. It's an amazing movie. And it tells the history of the Mexican-American War and how the Irish, who were being treated like garbage by Americans, Irish need not apply, said "F you" to the U.S. Army and defected to the Mexican side, not.
What movie is this?
Huh? What was that?
What movie is this?
One Man's Army. It's one of my favorite movies ever. I came across it. Tom Berenger is the name of the lead actor. He's like I've seen him in a ton of like B movies, like good movies.
Yeah.
Just like they didn't make they weren't like the
Manette's
hits.
trying to get back into the
Yeah, Manette wants to come back in.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that everybody notices that because I always forget to look down there. So I have a question for you guys just to make sure we talk about this just a little bit. Most of you guys are good about doing this anyway, but if you ever see one like when I did the video this afternoon, I knew I sounded like I had just slammed down one too many at the bar, and that's why I was like, fuck it, I'm not gonna try to re-record it, because it's gonna come out worse, but I usually during lives is if I start reacting during a live, there's always at least one person who's good at like noticing and telling me, but not always like during videos. I might occasionally have like somebody like a random person who I haven't seen before be like, "Why are you slurring?" And like Robin will answer and say she's having that's what happens when she's having an allergic reaction.
Right.
And because like if you watch the Target latex video, it was Grandma Bear that explained. I asked her to explain because someone asked me. As I was coming out of the store, I recorded myself saying, that listing off the symptoms that I could like immediately like identify, and one of them was dry mouth. And when I say dry mouth, I mean like your tongue and your lips are literally sticking to your teeth because there is
Yeah, I
zero
get
saliva
that.
in your mouth. It happens instantly, like you turned off a tap.
That where it hurts to talk.
That
Yeah.
right, and so you
You
sound.
feel like you can breathe for a little bit, but it's not having to do with your lungs.
Yep,
or your
exactly.
throat.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that's what and that's one of the things that was happening to me then, and that's what happens when I'm reacting and having mast cell like reactions too. So but yeah, like so I didn't know, like I knew that it happened, but I didn't know why. So someone came in on like the next video that I recorded, I don't remember which one it was, and I was, slurring, and asked, why are you slurring? And I tagged Grandma Bear and another nurse that I'm mutuals with, and was like, can somebody please explain the why? Like, I know that it happens, and I know that it's a bad thing. I just don't know how to explain. I don't know the why behind it. And
Right.
Grandma Bear jumped in and she said that and she basically what she said was one of the body's immune responses during an allergic reaction can be literally the salivary glands just literally shutting down and just immediately just turning off like a tap, like tap. And I was like, okay, so that explains it, because I didn't know why before. Trex, thank you for sharing thank you for sharing the live. Hi, Kelly Moores.
So is that kind of why I wake up feeling like my mouth is so dry, other than just
Yeah, it could it could be.
drooling like a motherfucker?
It could be. I would probably ask if it's happening often enough. I would probably ask talk to your doctor, and see if you're taking enough H1s and H2s, because a lot of people. Would you like? Let me know if you want to join in, Trex.
I don't really take a lot. Well, I just have the typical seasonal allergies, but I do have postnasal drip, and I don't really take a lot of medication.
Okay.
Because I just don't.
Okay. Right. Where do you what state are you in the southern border again? Or where?
Yeah, I am in El Paso.
Okay.
Right next to the border.
Okay. All
That's
right.
where my father lives.
Hey.
Yeah.
I found out
That's where my mom was born.
Well, I found out the last
Awesome.
few years that I had, let me see, 5, 6, 7 siblings that I didn't know. And then
Oh.
my mother had 2 children, so we had 9 altogether.
Oh.
Damn.
Her first child died at birth, though.
Aw.
I know my great grandma lost twins.
And I'm pretty sure it's because of that Ehlers. Because of the Ehlers family.
Yep.
But my great grandmother, she looks like she has Marfan's.
Yep. I know somebody with that. I know somebody with that too, who is
The one that's Poyaki, she looks like she has Marfan's.
could be.
And her
Trex is in Texas too.
Oh.
I'm allergic to Texas, Trex. Like literally, I'm allergic to the state, and I'm allergic to being Mexican.
I'm allergic to
Yeah, because a lot of our stuff has a lot of latex, and I did not realize that.
So here's
Grass is killing me because of the warm weather. It receded again.
Yep. I'm allergic to latex. I'm allergic to avocados, bananas, coconuts. I'm allergic to mesquite, which is in well, you know where you live in Texas.
State.
Yeah.
Texas. Oh, why is a lot of people in Texas?
Yeah.
I know, right? Texas is booming.
Then I'm glad it's good for you. And honestly, we would.
I just wonder where in Texas, because I know.
Well, my mom
like I
was
said,
born in El Paso, so like the vibe, I think the culture is a little bit different than like Arizona.
it is
Like,
definitely
the
different.
music is
I don't.
like
Sometimes I don't even feel like it's Texas.
If we hadn't had,
So I grew up listening and like even like the language is different because I say a word and my husband says, "Where do you get that from?" But I'm like, that's what I grew up hearing. Like when you're sad over something, you say, "Estoy agüitada, me agüites." And other people in his family, where they're like first generation Mexicans, they don't say that.
see, my tia told me that it's because they're okay. Now I guess I'm gonna give the example. Mary Poppins. Okay.
Truck says troca.
Yeah, a troca. Yeah. Right. And I'm a hot dog. This is from Tia.
And when you're like, I think when you're like 7 or really insistent on something, like high level.
Yep. Yeah, but I had the tia from Mexico that was serving me coffee when I was 5 when she was babysitting me. Who obviously knew something that everybody else didn't because I didn't get diagnosed until I was an adult at 33.
The psychic tia.
Oh, she knew. She was. I was the only one she gave coffee to. There were, there's like 6 of us over there. Well, she's babysitting 6 of us. I'm the only one getting the coffee before bedtime. Well, what that? Oh, okay, all right.
All my family was Roman Catholic.
Yeah. So she knew.
So my mom wrote my great grandma.
Oh,
She
tell
wasn't really my grandma. My grandma, she wasn't really that Catholic, but she became more into the religion as she got older. But my mom would used to say that sometimes because to avoid the mal de ojo, she would take her to the curandero and do the limpia.
Family just did that ourselves for because we had one.
I just like to go for the mariachis.
Yep.
Oh, the mariachi.
Oh my God, you guys. Oh my God. Okay, so one of my cousins, by marriage, married a Caucasian American woman, right?
The white man, the white boy. Sorry.
When he matched me, and he married somebody who matched this.
Oh.
Okay. So this is, and if you didn't know that, you knew when the mariachis that were hired to play at the wedding during dinner, because every table for the bride's side, because you have to request your song, right?
Oh my goodness.
But I couldn't even eat because I was laughing so hard. Like I'm sitting there, like I'm sitting here like this, looking down because I can't make eye contact with my husband or my father because I will lose my shit, and then I'm just gonna disrespect everybody. Because by the time they got to the 4th table and played the 4th round of La Cucaracha, and I'm sitting there translating the song for my husband because there's multiple verses, but this is the most popular verse, the most popular version that like most people know. You don't know what you're singing. You don't. But oh my God, so they get to table number 6. And now I'm like wanting to like hug these guys because they're like, ¿qué canción quieren? La Cucaracha, okay.
Rest in peace, those poor people souls.
Yeah.
Never heard of a tradition like that.
For what? Mariachis?
Yeah, like everybody chooses every table chooses the song.
I actually never done.
I don't.
The only time I seen a mariachi when I was during the New Year's celebration.
Every single wedding in my family.
I've seen many mariachis, even though like my family were like the 4th or 5th were still like. I think we're pretty good in the way we were raised in the culture.
Yeah.
So
I always wanted to play in the mariachi.
Sang with the mariachi.
Oh, so there's more mariachis.
I
So
just
I always
wanted to
like
play.
listening to them.
Ana Gabriel. Anybody?
Oh, yeah.
You know Ana Gabriel?
Demasiado tarde. If I wasn't sick, I would sing it for you guys.
Yeah. Ana Gabriel was.
Demasiado tarde.
I love Paloma Negra.
Ana Gabriel was. She. I remember she became very.
She doesn't sing.
I remember my tia pointing her out to me because she was half Chinese, half Mexican, and gorgeous, and wow, her voice was just powerful.
Mhm.
Oh, what was the one lady? Oh my God, I researched her and I can't remember her last name.
I
Oh,
need to get
God.
into more of this
You guys remember
music
her?
because I don't listen to a lot of music.
Sing the song, or what are some of the lyrics?
No, she was famous.
Lucía González?
I want to say Cervantes, but I think I'm wrong.
Cervantes?
Hey, Chica girl.
Cervantes.
From what era is she? Like now or?
No, old, yeah.
Oh, then I don't know.
Cervantes?
I think she had a love affair with Frida.
Oh.
Oh, I know who you mean, but I don't know.
Had a love affair with Frida.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't. I'll remember later. Watch.
Sally
Oh.
text us. Oh, hey, this is who she is.
Oh, eventually we're gonna get there. It's just gonna be like what TikTok. We're all gonna be FaceTiming or some shit. It's just. Oh my
I
goodness.
grew up listening to cello.
Mm-hmm.
That was like my
I'm listening to Mark
grandparents' music,
Anthony, Selena Quintanilla, if I pronounce
Sugar
that.
tracks.
but that's
Mhm.
like more newer generation cello is like from my grandparents' time.
I'm
But
pretty sure they asked
my mom liked that.
I'm pretty sure they asked my mom about it. She probably knows, but I don't because I'm like I said, I'm only 20.
Until I was 13, I thought that.
I grew up listening to, I like Spanish music more than like English. I think like it sounds much more like romantic
Mhm.
because the languages were more romantic.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I love.
that was one of the reasons
When
that.
I was younger, I would be singing and I don't even know what I was saying. I was like, what does it mean?
That was one.
I am literally listening to Spanish death rock, and it's just so much better than compared to other death rock genres. I'm sorry. I'm listening to a band called Acid Bats, and oh my God, they're.
You know, oh my gosh, there are.
Now I understand what it is because my husband taught me Spanish, but like my sisters, no, my mom calls it mocho.
There are.
Mocho.
I forget what they're called, but there are bands. They have their own like version of. Because, okay, there. Mexico had its own mini. What happened in Germany with this? Jewish and Jewish people.
Genocide. I can't pronounce.
Yeah.
We can't say it because TikTok sensitive.
Yeah, right. And so my and here we go. Listen to this. We're having I only ever knew that my great grandfather father's name on my dad's side was he was known as Abuelo Tito. I didn't know what his actual name was until we are sitting down to dinner at my parents' house one day, and I was like, "Hey, Dad, what was Abuelo Tito's actual name?" And he was Feliciano, Feliciano Isaac. And I said, I'm sitting there for a second. I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to, I'm saying the name over and over in my brain until I can actually say it in English. Okay. right? I'm like Feliciano, Isaac, Isaac. Dad were Jewish, and
Oh yeah, here's the thing. There a lot of no, I'm not sure a lot of them, but there's Sephardi Jewish heritage for some people of Mexican families. That's what we're thinking. We're possibly Sephardi because of our last name. With
tortillas,
paternal side.
Tortillas,
Not paternal,
non-leavened bread.
What?
Non-leavened bread.
Flatbread. Yep.
Flatbread. Tortillas.
Tortillas.
Jewish people, from the ones who was to try to
And then you have naan.
That's where I can. I think one of my dads told me that's where I came from, and I'd have to confirm, but I mean it makes sense because there were a lot, but they were known as they were known, it was a non-favorable term as what's the word for pig? The word for pig. But yeah, I don't know.
I only remember the word cochino.
Good. I think that's what they were. I think that's what.
Cochina.
I remember. I don't.
It was a non-complimentary term that referred to pigs. That's what they were known as by others. They had to practice. They had to pretend outwardly. They had to pretend to be Catholic. Because there was because there wasn't
I remember that my dear was talking about that.
Right.
You have to.
And so there were a lot of ways that they practiced Judaism in secret, and tortillas was their non-leavened bread, and every other Mexican was like, "Damn, these are good."
Okay. So, do most of your family do flour tortillas?
Yep, my mom made, I learned how to make flour tortillas. I was by the time I was 13, my mom could be by the time I was 13, I knew how to make them. I knew how to make them so that every single
flour tortillas only happened during like the 1500s. That's when it really started becoming popular.
Yeah, but
it's mostly in the I know it's mostly in the interior.
Yeah, and that's how but I learned how to do it so every single tortilla that I made actually like blew up. And then went swished back down. And my dad was like, "You got it, girl." He's like the one. He's like when you can
push on them when you put it down, you roll it out, you put it down just right, and then you flip it, and that's when you pat it with a towel, and it will blow up.
Yep. And it's perfect.
And what's the pan called? I forgot the name. The word.
Me too.
I forget what it says.
The griddle that you put it on.
Oh
my god.
I can't be I can't get drunk enough to remember all these words because I can't drink anything.
I don't remember these words, but I know what you're talking about. Like the thing is with me is that like I don't think I'm really that connected with the culture. But I do know like my great grandma used to make tortillas a lot.
I didn't know I had my mic off, but it's called a comal.
Thank you. Comal. COMAL. COMAL.
I never learned how to make tortillas, but I know how to make everything else.
Yeah.
I can even make gorditas, but somehow I do not know how to make gorditas too. I made them well. I know how to make it tortillas. No, you don't.
I make when my husband was when my husband was diagnosed with celiac disease, and then I eventually was diagnosed as having an allergy to wheat. which by the way, just so you know, gluten and wheat are on that latex allergy cross list.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Really?
just yes,
Yeah.
yep. They're on the it's the low to it's a low I think it's a low list, but they are cross reactives. And anyway, so we had to switch over to making corn tortillas, and I for some reason we know we are doing it. We know we're doing this, but we do it anyway. Like okay, so you know the difference between a quesadilla and a tostada, right? Quesadilla is usually made with a flour tortilla and usually folded over, or two tortillas put over each other, and
beans and all, and usually add on to other stuff.
right. And then tostada is crisped up in oil, so that it can hold the toppings, right? Yeah. Like
My grandmother, she passed down a recipe to me, and it's not nothing fancy, but I made empanadas.
That's awesome.
The tortilla recipe, but instead of the salt, you add a little sugar, and we would bake them.
My husband grew up. My husband, he said he learned this from his dad.
Yeah, they're very vegetarian.
Yeah, they just called them cheesies. He's like, it was they did it with flour tortilla. But a friend of mine actually created what is it? I think it's a Mediterranean type flatbread. She invented her own Mediterranean type flatbread recipe that actually tasted to me like a traditional flour tortilla.
Feedback.
There's
Have you guys ever tasted verdolaga?
no. And where is the feedback? Who's got the feedback?
It's kind of like
Yeah, this is something. This is
like
something
spinach, I guess. But it's grown wild, and it's very good.
Huh.
I never heard of it. What is it called?
Verdolaga. It's basically like a herb or like a spinach, a green thing that looks like a little tree.
Then I'm probably allergic to it.
You said you had a tamale the other day with the banana leaf. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Puerto Rican tamale.
Oh yeah.
Okay, see, I was trying to.
Honduras too, Guatemala.
There you go. See,
I know, not Brazil. I know a lot of the South American. I know a lot of the South American countries use what they
yeah, and the thing is,
wrapping.
that was the stupidest reaction for me to have had, because when we got home, like we didn't watch her bag. It was number one. It was a store called freaking Casa Azteca or something. It was a Mexican. It was just, there was nothing that said anything about, and nobody said her Honduras, tamales de Honduras, or whatever. Like I think, like, if you're gonna get what you are not expecting at a place. I took 3 bites of it because
It literally burnt.
Yeah.
It burnt the freaking back of
I
her.
took 3 bites because we bought 2 kinds, red sauce and green sauce, and I wanted to make sure that Eliana was like, I know she likes spicy, but she likes hot, but I wanted to make sure that these weren't like, she wasn't gonna eat the bland one, right? So I wanted to make sure they both had a little bit of kick, and I don't react to peppers. Some people do, so I just took 3 little bites just to make sure, and this is the first time I've had a delayed reaction, but it's been my worst reaction to date, because Grandma Bear said that that's the reaction that since then I've been a complete and effing mess.
Yeah, because I noticed it because I don't understand that everything just kind of like went to chaos as soon as you ate that damn thing. And like I said, I never knew that, like, tamales or something to make it pectin.
You didn't know it was a banana?
No, see, that's the thing. That's the embarrassing part. That's the actually embarrassing part.
Shit.
Because number one, it wasn't even shaped like a Mexican tamal. It wasn't even rectangular. It was a square. Okay. So
That's the way they are.
so yeah, exactly. So now listen, you've got
Best friend used to make them.
Yep.
In Maine.
I just ate.
He was
My
from
sister.
the island.
Yep, and my in-laws were
Yeah.
visiting.
Sister-in-law is married to a man from, where is he from? Honduras or Guatemala? But they make it the same way. And my sister on Christmas,
Yeah.
because she loves those tamales.
Yeah. And my
But they're not
in-laws.
made with masa. They're made with a different consistency.
Yeah,
That's
and
what's wrong.
yeah.
They taste different.
And my in-laws were here, so that means my father-in-law from Mexico is in the kitchen, and he walks by and he goes, "Oh, the wrapper, and they make them on this every Christmas when they're home, right? The Mexican kind." And he walks by and he's like, "Oh, it's a green wrapper. It's a green husk," and my husband's like, "Oh," and like you have 4 grown ass adults, all who have either had or made tamales for most of their lives, and not a single one. And all of us knowing that I can't eat bananas, and I'm over here just here you go, Eliana, blah 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 blah. And the fact that it did not cause an instant reaction for me is the most actually scary part.
I was gonna say terrifying. Like, what the hell?
Because
What?
right, because like I didn't know I needed to stay awake to make sure I wasn't going to stop breathing, or like, right, like not be able to. Like I honestly don't know.
And it's weird because, like, as far as I know, you react to banana quite quickly.
Right. So so like yeah, the next day, so like the next day I'm taking a drink of water and I'm like, oh, that hurts, right? And we go out to dinner because my father-in-law like loves when they travel, you're going out to dinner every night. So we go out to dinner, and mind you, this is way before, this was like way before Christmas, so I didn't have to worry about poinsettias. And I'm eating. I try taking 3 or 4 bites of my dinner, and I'm like, I felt like I had strep throat. Like I thought I might, and then literally I actually thought I had strep throat. That's what I thought I had. Then so it was that night. It wasn't until the second night, a full 24 hours basically after, that I go to urgent care, and I'm like, can you test me for, and he takes one look and he goes, "That's not strep." He goes, he's like, "What are you allergic to?" And I'm like, everything. And he looks at my chart, and he's like, literally. So I gave him a quick rundown, and he goes, "Okay, so you literally are allergic to everything." He's like, "There isn't a single thing I can prescribe for you that you aren't already on, so I'm just going to tell you to increase what you're taking." Because he's like, "I can't give you any corticosteroids. I can't send you home with a Z-Pack. I can't nothing. You can't have, nothing that I would give the typical patient." He's like, "You just have to," and probably I would probably just do broth for a couple of days, because it's going to hurt to eat for a little bit, because you burned your throat. And I'm like, while I was sleeping.
Has this ever happened? Eating those before?
I've never eaten a banana.
And the thing, like I said earlier, like as far as I know, she
never
reacts to banana instantly.
You didn't know.
I've never.
I didn't know either.
I never. I had no idea. I had.
Were you on live? Like after?
Did I do a
Because I
live?
know you said you were gonna go
No,
live on
no,
Facebook,
because
but
I
was
didn't.
so busy.
No, because when my in-laws were here, I basically just posted a lot of drafts. Because it's not exactly like, you know, social media
Okay.
Like,
type.
I know you did something saying like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna be hanging out with my family and all that stuff, and then kind of
Yeah.
left it up there. And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, I'm suffering from a allergic reaction from a banana leaf that I did not know that it was banana leaf, and I kind of suddenly burned my throat.
If only I would have like known. If I was like there, I would have stopped you because I know.
Yeah. Well, like, because the last time that I, bananas used to just make me sneeze like really hard and really long, and I'm talking like the kind where you start swearing because you won't stop sneezing. So I and when this is why I do so much with trying to explain things to people, even like the obvious, because we miss the obvious the most, right? When my allergist told me to stop eating bananas, even though
I did the same thing.
even though I didn't test positive to bananas, I didn't test
I
positive.
tested allergic. What is the word? I can't speak. To a lot of things that I ate my whole life, and I mean, it would make sense if I'm having reactions to that stuff.
Yeah, I didn't test
That's the reason
positive.
why.
I didn't test positive, but 3 or 4 times I'm in his office because I've got, eyes I can barely open, and I'm sneezing so much that like I can't get 3 words out. And okay, April, and he after like the 3rd test, he was like, "Look, I'm just gonna put it to you this way. Sometimes the tests aren't right. Sometimes you go with what your body tells you. So if you react to the same food 2 or more times, consider yourself allergic and don't eat it again."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, you need to be like every doctor's like teacher." Is that okay? Sure. So, but as brilliant as that was, hi Zed. As brilliant as that was, both me and my husband, we're educated people. We took exposure, limited exposure to mean just don't eat it. Like, I'm still making Eliana homemade banana chips every chance I get. I have my in-laws bought me a dehydrator so I can make banana chips and beef jerky and everything for all for all these things that I was eventually not going to be able to eat. But Eliana loves and would save us a ton of money on, because good beef jerky is not cheap. And eventually, when we have our own house and a garage, the dehydrator will be set up in the garage, and Eliana knows how to make. We've got a special banana slicer type thing, and she can make her own banana chips.
Yeah.
Right, and it'll be out in the garage, and I'll be fine because it won't be circulating, whatever. But I was it took me 2 hours, maybe 3 hours to fill 5 trays with these things. So like it wasn't even the last, and my hands got really, they were so swollen. My fingers look like sausages, and I'm now this is how much we've normalized my reactions. If we'd seen that on anybody else that we didn't know, or somebody else, if a stranger in a restaurant, a friend visiting, oh my God, I accidentally gave my best friend stuff, something made with walnuts or something, when she showed me that she was allergic to tree nuts, for during a Christmas dinner one time, and she was like, "Oh my God, is there nuts in this?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" And she was like, "I'm allergic to them." And I was like, "Oh," and we were about ready to call EMS and everything. And she was like, No, I'm fine. And she's like, "I just need to take a bed." And she's like, "I'm not that bad. I'm just Benadryl bad. So but Benadryl is gonna make me tired. So we're gonna have to cut it short tonight. So I'm gonna take my Benadryl, and my friend and I are gonna go home." And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, but we were ready to drive her to the hospital because she says she's allergic to nuts when all she has to do is pop 2 Benadryl. And my hands, I can't bend my fingers, and we're like, huh?
Oh, just a typical day of MCAS.
Okay. Well, next time, actually, he looked at me and was like, "You didn't wear gloves, did you, dumbass?"
Yep.
And I was like, you're right. And then
take a risky medication, haven't you?
Yeah.
At the moment.
yeah, it was like, yeah, like that. Like our first thought is, it's just a flesh wound. It's just a flesh wound because
Just put a scratch.
yeah, it is nothing but exactly because
Just put a scratch.
because if we went seriously, the amount of people who when I have to be very careful, and you guys I think have picked up on will know why, but I have to be very careful when I talk about my rescue meds. I always have to try and say, all published medical sources, say first line rescue med is, EpiPen, blah, 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 blah. Because that's what they all say. So that's what it is. Okay. TikTok. But I also tell people that they need to talk to their doctors and make sure that they have a personalized rescue plan, because yours might be slightly different with what steps to take when, right? And I was told by my doctor, by my provider, to not epi unless or until my airway is affected. Now, breathing is right. So I took that to mean can't breathe. She's like, she said, she's like, unless you can't breathe, don't epi, because MCAS, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's different.
Yeah.
Right. She's like, I had gone to the hospital one time before when I could breathe, just because I was just because I was swollen and looked like I had horns that were about to pop out of my eyebrows here because I had a reaction to antibiotic, and the doctor, when the doctor got to me, he literally was like, "Why are you here if you can breathe?" And I was like, "Excuse the fuck out of me." But like, now I understand his reaction because he was literally taking care of people having heart attacks, broken legs, this, that, whatever. And I'm standing there going, my eyebrows are swollen, and I can't bend my fingers because they're swollen too. And him going, "That's nice. You can breathe, you can walk, you can talk. Why here's a cortisone." Was that what they usually do? Cortisone. This was before I realized I was allergic to that too. But anyway, yeah. So like, my first line is not epi. My first line is my MCAS line. My second line is if first line doesn't work and I can't breathe, then hey, this Dean Florida, thank you for following. Then that's when I'm supposed to go. So but my autistic brain had already had the when do I epi with her conversation when she gave me the prescription, right? I've had epis for a long time, but I wanted to know what her thoughts were on this, right? And so she says, can't breathe. Okay. Well, when I was making the video on the way to the car from Target, and talking to keep myself calm, because I had to walk to the car anyway, I could breathe. I was fine. I didn't realize that I sounded the way I sounded, like I was having an asthma attack with stride, with the Strider kind of thing. And I wasn't even, I gave up on trying to finish a sentence and everything. So like after the banana incident, I'm talking to my doctor and I'm like, and she's like, you didn't epi for that one either. Did you? And now, mind you, this is a doctor who literally had said to me 3 appointments earlier, don't epi unless you can't breathe. And if you can stop the progression of the reaction with your rescue meds and your airway is not affected and you are able to breathe without issue, then you're okay. And I'm like, okay. And mind you, there's all of the major decision makers are have to do a video on this on YouTube. The official advice has been for years that if you epi, you automatically you're going to go to the hospital. Epi, call EMS, right? That's changing. Basically, it already has changed officially at the conference. It was decided upon by all the doctors who make, who are in, the position to make these choices. But I think I forget what month after this, I'll do the video, I'll research for the video. But the Allergic Living, I think, did a story on it. And the new recommendation is going to be that it is now that you don't have to go to the hospital after you epi, as long as you have stopped the progression of the reaction. If you can breathe, if you have stopped the swelling, and if your blood, as long as you're like, oh, I feel better, you can stay home, right? But if you have to do epi number 2 and you still are a mess, then you need to call EMS, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason that they're doing that is because the thinking is that a lot of parents, well, there's people who want to, one, avoid the cost of a ride in the wee woo van, and 2, the cost of being treated and seen, because it's just how much it's going to cost, and
actually giving proper care and
yeah, exactly, like it's this whole yeah. So they're thinking if they tell you, if they change the recommendation to you only have to go to the hospital if the reaction doesn't, if giving yourself your first shot doesn't work and you have to go for the second and you still can't and you're still having problems, call or go, right? Then but everybody else, you're good to go, you're fine. And then they figure parents would be less afraid and more likely to epi if they see that their child is having a reaction, or if they're having a reaction, or whatever. And that makes sense to me, because it's occurred to me let me put it this way. The fact that I actually thought I should go to the urgent care 24 hours after taking a bite of what we figured out was a banana leaf at the mouth is actually pretty epic. It's actually, that's probably the first time that I've made like a responsible allergic choice with a reaction, right? Like a logical, like what I would have told someone else to do. Because what we recognize in other people, we don't always recognize in ourselves. And then when I had the second reaction, what happened after that? After the tamal, it was because 2 weeks later, or no, like 5 days later, I'm still like, I can barely eat. I can barely drink anything. Everything hurts. It's still,
I remember, as soon as that you were reacting to your Eliana's, no, her name, your daughter's name is
Eliana.
Eliana. Yeah, you were talking. You were saying that you were reacting to her cycle too during that moment too.
Yep.
Fiasco with fucking banana. I'm gonna call it the curse of banana leaf.
Yep, it is. It was bad. It was bad, and I felt bad because we had to throw them away, and we sent them home with the in-laws. Basically, but like I felt bad that she couldn't have them because like I can't touch them, handle them. And that sucks. But and she likes bananas. So damn. The one thing I will say though is I'm glad that I didn't get diagnosed or progress to the point where a diagnosis was needed until she was past the age of believing for the holidays. Because the only time we left the house, aside from me walking the dogs, and taking the path that I know does not have I walk to a public park. And if I turn right when I get to the end of this street, I'm going through an entire community. It's a tourist area. There's a church. It's on the pier. There's hotels and motels and a restaurant and a little museum and a bunch of stuff, right? What do churches like to do decorate with for Christmas? So after I saw the first poinsettia outside of somebody's house in my neighborhood, I was like, I can't go to. I'm like, I was like, oh shit, I couldn't even go to church on Christmas Eve if I wanted to. So I just walk. I just walk through the park, and that's it with the dogs. Like that's it. That's the only time I leave the house every day is to walk the dogs. I don't go to the stores. I don't go to anywhere. Until my birthday, we went out to dinner, and I should have trusted my gut when I saw the poinsettia inside the restaurant and was like, nope, we need to eat outside. And my husband was like, why? Because it was slightly chilly, which is weird to say. And, from having lived in Minnesota for so long. anyway, I was like, yeah, I'm like, I can see a poinsettia on the back, and it was like, oh, all right, fine. And we didn't see, it didn't occur to us, to look around outside where we were sitting, right? Because the restaurant deck area where the seating area didn't have poinsettia plants, but like it was part of like the street decor. He was the big planters down the street and everything, poinsettia plants. Like after we placed our order, and we're hanging out, we're talking and whatever, and I look around and I'm like, and I'm not kidding. Now, but here's the thing. That reaction might only have happened because of being hypersensitive, because my period was about to start. I don't like now. I can't say specifically. I actually no. I'm gonna say yes. Yes, it was the trigger, because otherwise it wouldn't have happened. It could have happened earlier, but it was then. You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying it weird, but you know what I mean.
Partially it's part of because of the period, but it's also partially because it's a poinsettia plant.
Yes, and poinsettia plants apparently are they're evil plants. They're also from Mexico.
Say it's not airborne, like what?
Yep, I know too many people who personally, and I think at least through social media, with latex allergy, who can't be near a poinsettia, who can't be even in the same building as a poinsettia plant. Like I know I know too many people for me to believe that. Like maybe it hasn't been proven yet.
What is it in the
It actually contains latex.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep, they actually.
It contains latex, but for some reason people are saying it is not airborne at all, even though a lot of people clearly.
Well, the reason they say that it's not airborne is because the belief and the reason that it's the cornstarch balloons and gloves. They use cornstarch on them so they don't get stuck to each other in the packaging. Oh, April, sorry. The reason that they say the reason that they say that the poinsettia can't be latex, it can't be airborne, is because there's no cornstarch involved. But so like there wouldn't be any cornstarch, because it's the cornstarch particles that carry the latex through the air, and that can get through masks and everything. By the way, if you have latex allergy and are cross-active allergic to coconut, N95 mask, every single mask, including N95s, are going to contain coconut fibers. Also, all water filters, like Brita and every other brand, and like the water filter bottles, personal bottles made with that use activated charcoal in the filter system. Those all are made from coconut shells. Also, the only mask that is safe to wear as a coconut and latex allergic person is the Vogue mask organic without the vent. The one with the vent has coconut in it, but no latex. All Vogue masks are latex free. I actually have to and I learned that I'm going to add them to my I've already added a bunch. I have an Amazon storefront now. So if you want to follow, you can follow me. Actually, follow me. That'd be great. And I just, wave to my non-existent audience on YouTube. Yay.